Welcome to Going Global, a look at export opportunities to the world. From El Paso, Ciudad Juarez, and southern New Mexico, Michael Hissam reporting. The state of New Mexico continues to aggressively pursue export opportunities, also with the small to medium-sized business in mind. The Gateway to Exporting program sets its sights on Mexico and beyond the big neighbor to the south. Jerry Pacheco, Executive Director, International Business Accelerator in Santa Teresa, New Mexico, picks up the story from there.
The Gateway to Exporting program is a partnership between the Small Business Administration of the U.S. and the New Mexico Small Business Development Centers Network of New Mexico. And it's part of what's called the Jobs Bill Act, which is aimed in this case at increasing the U.S.'s exports to the rest of the world. And the International Business Accelerator, which is a program, an import-export program of the New Mexico Small Business Development Centers Network, is administering this program.
Jerry, when you take a look at this program, and you have been associated with business development in southern New Mexico as well as supporting exports, what type of assistance does the Gateway to Exporting program offer businesses in the land of enchantment?
What we do is we assist small businesses that have an interest in exporting their products or services to the global market. What we do is we register a company. There's no cost to participate in the program, by the way. We register a company in the program. We help them kind of identify their strengths and weaknesses with their product or service and how well it would fare in a particular market, a foreign market. We can help them do an international business plan. And we can also help them identify a market and prospects in that market that may want to purchase those products and services.
In your answer, you pointed to something called an international business plan. Mm-hmm. How does that differ from guy sits down, gal sits down, they put together a business plan? What's different with the word international in front of it?
It's a twist on a traditional business plan, because when you take your product international, you're going to have to deal with things such as logistics. How do you get your product or service to the foreign market? How do you deal with your counterpart, or your buyer, or even, let's say, a joint venture partner in the foreign market? How do you get paid? Are there any tariffs? Are there any restrictions associated with that? How do you get your money back into the country if you're getting paid locally? These are all issues that you have to consider when setting yourself up to export.
When one takes a look at exporting through this program, one would assume that you're talking Mexico. You have the 179-mile border. You have 3 border crossings. But yet you're saying this looks beyond the neighbor to the south.
Yes. Originally, the grant was written with a focus on increasing the state's exports to Mexico and working particularly with the maquila industry to develop more supplier base out of New Mexico for the maquilas. But very quickly in the program, we opened it up to the world market. So right now, certainly most of our clients have an interest in Mexico because we share that border with Mexico. We have a geographic proximity, but we are working with companies that are trying to enter the South American market, Asia, and Europe.
When you're taking a look at these markets, though, how do you help identify a market beyond Mexico? This appears to be a unique service you offer.
It is. It's interesting. We will sit down with the company, look at that product, look at that service. The company usually has an idea of where they think they want to go. So if a client comes to us and says, you know what, I've been interested in Mexico since the North American Free Trade Agreement was signed, then we will look at a particular market in Mexico. We actually go out and identify prospects for them. We generate those prospects. And then the next step is then, okay, can we either get a meeting in person or a phone call going? We try to qualify that prospect to make sure that they're not wasting our clients' time. And we've actually brought companies down and taken them into Mexico to meet with the prospects.
Jerry, when you take a look at the services you offer and the target audience you are trying to serve, to what extent is size very important? I'm thinking, must one be a multi-million-dollar sales enterprise to be able to participate? What's the word?
No, not necessarily at all. In fact, if you look at the United States, most of the business in the United States is comprised of small businesses. And in this case, you're looking at SBA definitions, and there's different categories, but generally, companies with under 500 employees. And if you're from New Mexico, a company with 500 employees is a conglomerate. But most of our companies we work with are mom and pop shops. They could be companies with 5 people. They could be companies with 100 people. And you don't have to be a behemoth to explore the international market for your product or service. So many smaller companies are developing their international markets, and that's another revenue stream for them.
When you're talking about, you're implying that this is more than just the southern border of New Mexico. To what extent do you offer services, say, in Truth or Consequences, or all the way up to Clovis, or all the way north of Santa Fe? To what extent are those players in the Gateway to Exporting program?
Absolutely. It is a statewide program. We do have an office in Santa Teresa, but I have people working for me stationed in Albuquerque. For example, we cover all of the state of New Mexico. In fact, quite a few of our clients are from the northern part of the state, and we visit with them personally. We work with them personally. Within the program, there's 5 what we call lead small business development centers. They're located in Las Cruces, 2 in the Albuquerque area, 1 in Farmington, and 1 in Clovis. So there are lead centers. Those are the primary centers we work with to go out and recruit clients and to prep them for the program. So it's a statewide program.
Jerry, if I were a small business person thinking I have something to export, but I'm not sure, okay, what are some of the headaches you can help me avoid? Name some. What are some of the things I might not be able to think of now that through your experience, the Gateway to Exporting program's experience, that I can avoid?
Well, if you've never explored an international market, you're probably not familiar with taking your product from your warehouse and getting it to a buyer in a foreign country. You're probably not familiar with identifying what prospect in a foreign country would buy your product. So we take care of all sorts of things, such as getting customs brokers, freight forwarders involved, logistics companies. We utilize our resources in foreign countries to identify prospects for the company. And while we're going through this process, and we help them we provided them market research services, we're prepping them on all the issues that they need to be aware of. At the far end is how do you well, you're going to get paid? How do you get your money into the United States? Do you accept a form and payment? Do you accept payment via a letter of credit? Do you want a wire transfer up front, credit card, what have you? All of these things are issues, and there's a multitude of issues to consider when going international. But it's not rocket science. It's very matter of fact, and we can prep and kind of hold the client's hand through the whole process.
You mentioned holding the client's hand. You said it in plural. Jerry, how many participants have you had? What's your roster right now?
Well, in the year and a half that we've had the program right now, we have about 100 companies that we've worked with in the Gateway to Exporting program. And even though exporting, to generate an exporting success sometimes takes months and even years, we've had the fortune of having, I think, about 8 export successes already with companies that had never exported before. A couple had been doing business in an international market, but there's a few that have never exported before that we have gotten their feet wet, so to speak.
We're coming, although technically the recession has been over for years, there's still this bad feeling out there, and maybe that bad feeling interprets into hesitancy on the part of some companies to get into something like this. Why would you counter that feeling? What are you seeing out there now that's so positive? Now is the time.
Well, and even if we consider we could still be in a recession, and a lot of people in the industry would tell you that we still haven't come out of it fully. It's an excellent opportunity for a company to explore different ways to make money. If the domestic market is a little slow and sluggish, there probably are foreign markets that would be lucrative for a company to investigate. So now's the time to actually look at that. And when and if the domestic market comes back, and and we're positive that it will, the company will have another revenue stream developed in a foreign market.
Let's wrap it up this way, Jerry. Those in the state of New Mexico interested in working with the Gateway to Exporting program, what steps should they take? How can they get more information? How can they contact you?
The best way to investigate the program and contact us is through the International Business Accelerators website, and that's at www.n as in Nancy, M as in Michael, I as in International, B as in Business, A as in Accelerator.com. So that's nmiba.com, or they can call the IBA's Santa Teresa offices at 575-589-2200. That's 575-589-2200.
And we'll leave it this way. You're positive on business from the land of enchantment.
Absolutely. It's only going to get better.
And that's exports.
That's exports.
This is Robert Queen with the U.S. Commercial Service. This podcast was funded by the U.S.-Mexico Border District Export Council and the U.S. Commercial Service. The U.S. Commercial Service is a global network of 109 offices in the United States and 120 offices located in 74 countries around the world that focuses on U.S. export promotion. We work with U.S. companies to provide them with assistance, support, and business solutions to make them successful in exporting to foreign markets. The U.S. Commercial Service offers many different export training and educational opportunities. You can find a searchable list of these opportunities at www.export.gov. For more information on news in this podcast, please contact me at robert.queen@trade.gov.